Today I'm going to share with you something you don't know about your police department's internal affairs division. Hi, Larry K, ShadowAnyone.com, and the creator of the Investigator's Ultimate Guide series, Premium Private Investigator Training from someone who's been there and done that. The interesting thing about internal affairs divisions, people don't know because almost exclusively the exposure we have to them comes through television and movies. And while it allows, in a storyline or a plot, it allows for an interesting development of the story, it adds for some tension, it's generally not very reflective, like most things in Hollywood, of what things are like in the real world. Here's the interesting thing about internal affairs departments, and specifically how officers feel about the internal affairs department. Many officers do not have an adversarial relationship with internal affairs, and they're not afraid of them and they're not worried about them. The reason is, and if you think about it, here's the real world. 9 out of 10, or vast majority, of accusations made against police officers are fabricated. They're just outright lies. It's somebody they've got nothing to lose. They might as well make the accusation. Maybe it gives them a little bit of wiggle room or negotiation room to either lessen their sentence or get some charges dropped against them. It's very easy to swing a false accusation out. The bad guy really has nothing to lose in this situation, and the police have everything to lose. Interestingly enough, though, the Internal Affairs Division will look into these things, and they will find that it's a lot of times a false accusation, and this is something that actually helps the officer. So there's kind of the movie myth versus the reality. Now, I will be the first one to admit there are officers who step over the line. There are officers that use different kinds of dirty tricks to get their way. I teach some of them, even the most egregious ones. I teach in my book 51 Dirty Tricks Bad Guys Really Hate. I have an entire chapter devoted to police dirty tricks. And some of them are arguably ethical. They're things that we would consider, we might think are dirty tricks because they go a little bit above and beyond what you would expect an officer to normally do, although they still are within the bounds of the law and with the bounds of what's honorable. But there are some things in my book that are completely out of bounds, completely off limits, including one section where I teach how an officer, a crooked cop, a dirty cop, can beat the living daylights out of a completely innocent and compliant subject on video and get away with it every time. Dirty cops know these tricks. I'm not teaching these to dirty cops, but I want them out there so the general public knows about it. When something like this comes up, hopefully somebody can say, oh yeah, I read Larry's book, or I know this dirty trick, and that's exactly what you're seeing here on this video. If you take a close look, you can kind of see it there if you have the heads up to it. So I do invite you, check out my book, 51 Dirty Tricks Bad Guys Really Hate. Quickest way to find it, it's at Amazon.com, but if you go to 51dirtytricks.com, that will take you right there to buying the book. It'll tell you a little bit more about the book. So I hope you get that. I hope this is also a little bit enlightening to you, the difference between the Hollywood movie myth and the reality. This is Larry K, ShadowAnyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.